Hello and welcome back to a new Hearts of Iron video from Alter Fritz. We will start a new multiplayer session with a lot of players, and I will start playing with the United States this time. Yeah, today I want to let you participate on my strategic thoughts of what you can do with the United States, what I will do with the United States, especially in the Pacific region. I think I will have another player in my team to play the United States. He can focus on the European theater, and I will set my focus this time only to the Pacific region. Yeah, now I have a problem. I normally played in Hearts of Iron on the European theater. I planned the land battles, I planned the divisions, and now it's completely other setup here in the Pacific region, and I had no idea about naval battles, naval strategies, and the war in the Pacific. I had the time during the last weeks to view a short series. It's called Battlefield Vietnam. Chris told me about that series and it was really good. And I found another series, it's called Battlefield Pacific, and yeah, I watched the series. There are many hours of stuff. If you're interested in such documentaries and so on, I can really, yeah, give you the tip to show those both video series. The outcome of this is that my strategy for the Pacific is a mixture of the strategy in Vietnam of Westmoreland and the strategy of Jester Nimitz in the Second World War, who was leader of the Pacific Fleet, or admiral of the Pacific Fleet. So, before I start with the tactical things, I will give you a strategic overview of the focus of the United States, how I will get to my goals. My goals, I will focus only on the Pacific region, as I before mentioned. So I think the main focus will be to have some strongholds and spread from those strongholds to the other islands. Westmoreland did it in Vietnam. He had some fire bases spread over the country and engaged the Viet Cong from these fire bases. And in the Pacific region, the Americans have some fire bases already. It's HoI. Then I think this is Midway, this is Wake Island, and this will be Guam at the Marianas. And yeah, what is the idea? I will set up those islands as strategic fire bases and will engage the Japanese player from these fire bases. What is necessary to rule the Pacific? That's the thing. I now come back to Jester Nimitz. The time of battleships is over, and the same strategy I want to use for my fleet setup. So I think the person who rules the skies over the Pacific will rule the whole Pacific. And if I have those strongholds and fire bases, I can rule the Pacific from air and with my carriers as Nimitz did. But let's come back to how we get into war, when we will be combat ready, and what are my ideas. So the United States have a big problem at the beginning. They have undisturbed isolation, and as well as they have the Great Depression, what is also a big Mali. And yeah, we have furthermore no manpower and not that many men-at-arms. The Japanese fleet, I think it's a bit has a bit more power than the US fleet. If you start in 36, and I made a plan to bring America into war and be combat ready in the mid of 1940, so I need around about 4 years. The problem is we have on the Axis side, we have now a very interesting team in Germany, because we have one very, very defensive player, and we have a very logical and a bit more offensive player from my point of view, and I'm not sure how the Axis will act in this game. Therefore, I prepared 2 plans. One plan is an early aggression from the Axis side, and one plan is for the case that the Axis side will play a bit more defensive. We have, with the United States, a focus tree with the Monroe Doctrine and the intervention in Venezuela. This is the possibility if the Axis side will act very defensively to bring the United States into war by May 37. In May 37 you can go down this complete tree until the invention and then declare war on Venezuela. What is the outcome, or what is the result if you declare war to Venezuela? You can switch your industry capacity directly to war industry, which grants you a big bonus on your production capacity. And then if we are in war in mid 37 or late 37, we have still 1 or 2 years to build up our forces to engage the Axis. For the Pacific, I have one main focus. The first focus will be the Bureau of Ships and the carrier primacy, due to the fact that this grants you a 2 times 50% research bonus on the carrier models, and so I can directly research those models. I tested it on an early stage, and you can field the Midway class. It's the largest carrier model in the game by end of 39, and if you have 2 production lines fully stocked with dockyards, you can send 4 carriers per year on mission together with the aircrafts. So this will be my focus for the United States. I think it's also a favor for the player I will get for the European theater, and these are the only prerequisites I have for my war in the Pacific. My partner, my buddy, can act after that fully free in the focus tree. He can take this what he needs for the European theater. Beside the war bonds, that will be one of the earliest things when it's possible to set this focus. So this is the focus strategy of the United States. One time the Axis act defensively, we can declare war or work on war with Venezuela until mid of 37. Then we are in war, and we can switch to disrupt isolation directly to our economy, which gives us a big boost for our United States. Yeah. Then I talked about the carrier focus. I will work not with a stack of doom in the Pacific. I will work with little carrier task forces, as Jester Nimitz did. I will have a carrier task force which consists of 4 carriers. The minimum of those carriers will be the Essex class. The Essex class has on stock a deck size of 70 carrier-based aircrafts. Beside that, I will choose from the focus here, the ship designer, Pacific Fleet designer, which grants you a deck size bonus of 25%, and my whole naval experience I will spend for the deck size of my carriers. Because my idea is the strategy of Jester Nimitz, who will rule the skies over the Pacific, who rule the Pacific, and to engage the big Japanese fleet with small carrier task forces and bomb them away. And on a later stage, the Midway class has a standard deck size of 85. I will see if it's necessary to go or to build the Midway class, because I think the Essex class will be sufficient if I have enough experience, Navy experience, and if I spend all those Navy experience for the deck size, I will have roundabout 100 to 110 aircrafts by carrier. Let's jump to the aircraft at this point. I will not specially spend any more research points to the Avenger and the Dauntless bombers. I will research the F3F fighter and will upgrade those fighter with my air experience, that they have an agility of a minimum of 50 like the land-based unit, and boost the engine to the max speed and agility. And beside that, my carriers will be only stocked with fighters and naval bombers, or that was not the dive bombers, with the torpedo bombers. I will choose a ratio of 20 to 80. So I will have roundabout, or I will have a fixed amount of 80 torpedo bombers per carrier, and the free slots that will be between 20 and 30 I will fill up with the carrier-based fighters. Why? The reason is I have carrier task forces. I will have 2 carrier task forces with 4 carriers each. That means I will throw into naval combat 320 torpedo bombers, which will hardly hit the enemy, and beside that I will have around a minimum of 80 fighters in air to disrupt the enemy. The Japanese carriers at the beginning, they have a deck space of around about 45 to 60, I think, and they will have, I think, a mixed setup with fighters, dive bombers, and torpedo bombers. And the Japanese, I think at the beginning they have 5 carriers, something like that, with this deck space, and they will have round about 10 to 15 fighters. let's say they have 10 fighters per carrier, they will bring 50 fighters with 5 carriers, and I will have on air a minimum of 80 fighters and the rest of the torpedo bombers. So this will give me hopefully, yeah, the possibility to strike the Japanese fleet very hard because I have air superiority. I do not know if it works in the game, but these are my thoughts. And another thing is, I've tested it sometimes. If you have a stack of Doom and stack all your ships into a naval combat, and you have a small fleet of 24 to 30 ships, the carrier task force, they will disengage or run away from the enemy. And during that time, the enemy is following you, your carriers. You have the time to send your bombers against the enemy fleet, but they are not in strike range of their guns. And that is the main idea. If I have a small fleet which is engaged, or engage the enemy, you have some time in the game where the fleet is coming together, and during that time, if the carriers already in combat, the airplanes start their work, and I will bring down the whole Japanese naval air fleet. I will shoot his carriers empty, and then the threat of the Japanese carriers is gone, and I can only work with my carriers against their battleships. This is the main idea behind the carrier focus. And to summarize the naval focus, I will use the base strike doctrine and go down to carrier battle groups. So Pacific strategy is carriers with a deck size of around about 100, split by a ratio of 20-80, 20 fighters, 80 naval bombers. I will work with the early designs because I can produce a lot of them, and that will break the air superiority of the Japanese player. And yeah, then I hopefully can engage his fleet and destroy this fleet. So, what will happen? Next step. What will happen if the fleet is gone? At the beginning I said I have here the natural fire bases, let's say it in that way. I have Hawaii, Midway, Wake and Guam, and I will build up those islands to really big fortifications. Those islands can only be engaged by sea, and therefore I will set up coastal defenses and build up the airstrips and the harbors. Those islands will be defended by 4 divisions with a front width of 20 each, so I have a front width of 80 in all, and they are only on these islands on Hawaii, Midway, Waikiki and Guam, and the other islands I will not focus on because this is my so-called Pacific Red Ball Express, because if I have those islands secured, I will have first the fire bases, and second I have the infrastructure on them and support and supply. Yeah, my old carriers, the old models I have, will be stocked with dive bombers. On later stage, they will be only support for the Marines when they engage the enemy on the islands. I will do it the classic way. I will jump from Guam to, I think this is Saipan. Yes. And then on a later stage, I think this will be Iwo Jima. and I will raise Stars and Stripes over Suribari. This island is a key in my strategy due to the fact that if you have secured Iwo Jima, your bombers can reach the Japanese mainland, and Japanese do not have that much industry, and I will break his resistance in the Pacific through my industry capacity. Some words to the industry capacity. I will split the capacity into 20% for the Pacific area and 80% for the theater for my buddy player. You can use 80% of the US industry to work on his plan. I only need here one army, which consists of, at the beginning, 16 armies. 16 divisions, sorry. One army with 16 divisions to defend those 4 islands. That's it. And I will set up a marine army which consists of 24 divisions, but only with a front width of 10. So I can better act with those small divisions and can plan naval engagement on the islands better. How I will engage the enemy on the islands is quite easy. I will break the resistance by air and sea, and when I start landing with my marines, I will always send 8 divisions into combat. Then I have a front of 80, and my dive bombers, which are stationed on the old carriers, or sometimes in this case on land on the other islands, will do their work. My marine divisions will not be built to break the enemy. They will be built in that way that they hold the enemy as long as possible in combat, that my ship bombardments and my close air support can break the resistance. That will be the idea behind the divisions. Yeah, so that were a lot of little things. I will summarize it shortly. So my idea is to bring the United States as soon as possible into war by using the doctrine of Monroe, and to engage Venezuela, and I will choose the carrier primacy and to research the carriers as soon as possible. The Pacific region I will focus on should be ruled by air based on my carrier fleets, and I want to stomp the Japanese fleet with round about 60 ships. That's it. That should be sufficient to destroy the whole Japanese fleet. Yeah, the 4 main islands will be defended and coastal fortresses will be set up, and during that time I will set up some marine divisions for the landing of Saipan and Iwo Jima, and as soon as Iwo Jima is in US hand, I will bring tactical and strategic bombers to those islands to bomb the Japanese industry, and if he has no industry, he has no supply. Supply means in that game he will have no new fighters, no new bombers, no naval bombers, and I think I can shoot down more than he produces, but he can't shoot more down than I produce with only 20% of the industry capacity of the United States. That will be my focus with the United States. Hope you enjoyed. I cannot say any more at the beginning because I have to wait until the first round is over and we can see how the Axis players are acting. Thank you for watching this video. see you after, yeah, the first round with the first after action report. Bye bye.